On this installment of Creative Cabin Fever, I get around to with the incredible Nathan Mack. He is not just a good friend, but he is actually a creative force. I watch what he does with eyes wide open all of the time, amazed at just how different his creative process is to most. So, Nathan, how are you?
Hello, I am well, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good. I mean, I'm as good as anybody is in lockdown. I'm some days want to die, and other days over the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I'm just going to openly say it. Last week I was meant to interview you, and I couldn't
Mm.
stop crying. So we rescheduled to today, where I'm in a much better place. But yeah,
Mhm.
the ups are great, but the downs, like, oh,
You know what's weird though, right? Is that it's not even a good down. It's like you can't. It's really hard to channel it into songwriting. I have written so little, and I'm actually writing a song at the moment, and I just feel so uninspired. I'm sitting there at the piano, and I've got this beautiful little piano. I've got a beautiful piano piece. But then I'm coming out with lyrics and they're terrible. And the melody, I'm like, that part of it's fine, but and it just feels like it's just not working. It's one of those moments, you need to just sit at the piano and just keep going.
but yeah, I can understand that because as much as I am like experiencing a lot of emotions, I'm actually finding them very hard to catalog. It's like I honestly could
Oh.
not tell you why I was sad last Sunday, other than I could not stop crying.
Yeah, wow. We get weird when we don't have normal things that humans have. We need people. We're humans, you know?
Yeah, and like I have been working extremely hard. So I think it was just a case of, oh,
You finally, it's like the aftermath, the fallout.
yeah, like the performer's blues. Like a lot of people talk about that, like, so I'm
Definitely.
sure that you get it,
Yeah.
right? As a promoter and like an artist liaison and all the other things I manage to do as well as the interviews, I also get that. So after 13 incredible days in Cypress Avenue, working an average of 3 gigs a day, right? So I filmed 32 streams in the month of December with an
Ooh.
incredible crew in one of
Mm.
the most beautiful venues I've ever had the privilege to work in. I was a little bit burnt out. And then came Christmas. And then you're like, okay, back to full time mom and Christmas with a brand new family because I spent it with my boyfriend's family and it was amazing. But
Nice.
I was like, okay, this is all just catching up on me. And then, yeah, okay. So now I think I've actually categorized why I was crying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, okay, hold on. This is the worst thing that I've ever done in an interview. My battery's about to go on my laptop. I have to run downstairs and get the charger.
I will pause the interview. I have never seen a man run that fast to get a charger in my life, Nathan. So I'm happy we have the pause button, which is awesome. Nobody else had to see that, which is kind of a shame because you guys missed out on like Olympic level running.
I even flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the circus in me, I just got to show off. It's a pity you weren't watching, but it's okay.
Yeah, I love that about you though. You're just like so yourself all of the time. I love watching you do your headstands and your
Oh,
creative
yeah.
things and it's beautiful. Like anyone who's not following him on Instagram really should. It's great crack.
It's funny. I was actually talking about this the other day. That Bursty Mo crowd was even saying it to himself last night that I'm in this weird place because there's this moment of if you're trying to please everybody with what you're doing, then you suddenly stop doing the things you want to do and stop being the way you normally are. And I noticed that I was doing that a lot, that I was kind of tamping down my personality a bit for fear that it wasn't necessarily marketable. So I'm trying to now mediate that. I'm trying to now strike the balance between my complete personality and a marketable version of that complete personality, you know? Because it's tough, you know? They say,
No,
they say be yourself, but, don't always be yourself.
whereas I'm the complete opposite. I am completely myself all of the time, and I am okay with people not resonating with that because there's an audience for everybody.
Fair, fair. But this is the thing. So I'm not worried about attracting the audience. I'm worried about the audience I already have. And I want to make sure that, I keep them safe, that they're kept well. I shield them from any wild variations of who I am, you know. I already put them through a complete U-turn with this new project and with the start of Something Blue. It's completely electronic pop. or cinematic pop, as we like to call it now. But before it was completely acoustic stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Like, because your genre fluid. I like that. I like artists who just kind of
I
hop
like
on
that
in.
term. No, 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 no. I'm trying to, you know, stick to a lane for a while at least. You know, and it's what's nice is working with Brian as a producer because the two of us have a lot of shared influence, and so it narrows us down to these really nice selections of vibes, which is hopefully going to give us that consistency. You know?
Absolutely. Like, so Brian is your producer and
Yes,
you work
Brian
with
Dwyer.
him,
Mm-hmm.
and he does incredible work with what you create together.
It's unbelievable. It's funny because if people ever contact me, like they might think I'm the producer, or that even that I'm like Brian's the arranger as well. Brian will write string parts and harmonies and things. Not that I can't. It's just that one, he does it better, and two, it saves time if he does it. And it's just really, honestly, it's, to be like really frank and honest, it's just nice to sit back for a while and focus on other stuff while he just does the song.
You know, I think a lot of people take other people in the industry for granted. So, yes, there are the creators, and then there's the
Mm.
curators, and then there's the people who put everything together, like the sound
Oh
engineers,
gosh,
the
yeah.
lighting engineers, the producers, all these people that are invaluable to artists, right? Like, but no one talks about them, right? So that's the first thing. Like,
Yeah.
they're there and they do a great job, but they very seldom get seen. And I think none of them really do it for the credit. It's kind of more of a drive or a positive thing. But it
Mm.
takes a team of people to.
Yeah, it definitely does. And but you know what I think is really interesting, just from when I look around the way I see it, the types of personalities that are drawn to certain roles set us up in a particular structure. So artists, we are the egotistical ones. Even if we're the shy artist, you know, there's so many of those folk indie pop people who are shy. They still want to be seen, and they still want the fans, and they still want the attention. They just don't want to seem like they're trying for it, or it doesn't feel comfortable then for them to try for it. Doesn't mean they don't want it, you know. But then again, you'll have like a producer, let's say even Brian, he's not trying to stick his face everywhere. He's not annoyed if his name doesn't get mentioned. There's, I don't know, I guess it's a different personality trait, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, I'm curious, how does one pick a producer?
One does not pick a producer. A producer picks one.
Oh,
Um, no, it's really really interesting. I to like to say it straight out. Brian landed in my lap of pure chance, and I was amazingly lucky that he chose to work with me. That's really the way it was. Before finding Brian, I had reached out to other producers and I chatted with a few of them. It never really felt super right. Um, but honestly, if you're in a position where you need to pick from multiple producers, you're probably further along than I am. Give me advice.
I've never needed a producer. So to me, that seemed like a very interesting question because I've never been in the
Yeah.
position where I need to do an arrangement or I need someone to put something together for me. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there that are starting out, or lots of people out there that maybe perhaps, as you just said, watching the interview are further along than you and get to pick from different producers. So I was genuinely like, how does that happen? Like,
Well, and so like this is something because I work with artists who maybe aren't as far along as myself. And I'll basically do is regurgitate what I did, and hopefully that works for them. That's sort of the best I can do. And what I did was I planned without one. I planned to sort of produce it myself. I planned to find the closest person who could record me and do it in a way that was just as natural as possible. That's why I would do acoustic music beforehand, because I wasn't able to do electronic music because I didn't have those skills. How I found Brian, and if there's anybody out there that wants to find a producer, well, you're kind of screwed now because you know COVID and everything. But what I did was I pursued the career. I played gigs and I met new people. The story of how I met Brian is a beautiful one. I was doing a little gig in a cafe in Dublin, and it was this really small little thing. It was actually just a gig that I really loved to do because it was like my favorite cafe that was closing. And I'd always heard of Jacob Koopman, you know, Jacob Koopman. And I thought, you know what, I've never properly met the guy. I've never properly, I like his music and I've heard him. We sort of run in the same circles. So I just asked him, I said, hey, do you want to support me in this gig? Do you want to play? And he was like, yeah, sure. And when he showed up, he brought his producer who was playing piano for him. And that just so happened to be Brian. So we met that way. And the reason Brian then asked me to do a song is because I was prepared. I was practiced. I was playing and I was doing it really well. And I had a gimmick with this song, which was playing it with one hand, which was Better Off Without You. I was walking on tables, playing other songs, and I was doing it already, you know? So I guess Brian had faith in me because he saw that I was working hard. That's probably how I would suggest you get a producer. Work really hard and make sure they see you.
That's a really beautiful organic way to go about it. It's like I always remind people that you don't just get where you are. Like you take
Yeah.
one step in front of the other every single day, and who knows where the journey takes you, but the destination that takes care of itself.
Yeah. And that people don't put you in places. A lot of people think that like a manager will take you as you are and with their contacts will put you in the right position where you will just do it. But you need to be ready for them to do that. Because if they put somebody who's not ready in that position, it won't work. So they're looking for someone who's ready. So if they haven't found you yet, you're not ready.
That is incredibly true.
Oh yeah.
But like, so, right, December, 2 releases.
Yeah, this was a lot. This was a lot. We're still experimenting with the way we release our songs and how much time needs to go in between and what way we need to promote them and stuff. Uh, this was a bit more of a manufactured necessity on my behalf. I had decided almost arbitrarily that I wanted to finish the album by the end of 2021. So the start of Something Blue will be finished by the end of 2021. And we were going to do that with enough wiggle room to say that we were going to release a track fully produced every 2 months, which for us, the way we work, especially the way we're working with COVID and time constraints is tough. But to do that, we needed to release the track on the 31st of December, because then every 2 months on the Friday, because it's New Music Friday, we would release the final track on the 31st of December, 2021. It's just the way the months fell. So we released one song on the 4th of December this year, or in 2020, and then one song on the 31st.
And so I haven't talked to you in a while. So there's
Yeah.
been 4 releases last year, which is just insanely good,
Incredible.
right? Wow. So
Mm.
the 2 latest ones, the Boy Who Learned to Fly, right?
Mhm.
So that song is really cool because it allows you to put yourself in a kind of third person dimension where everyone can kind of feel it. And I love that about your music. Actually, pretty much all the songs do that, so it's kind of magical. But like it's really cool. Like it brings you like loads of nostalgia. It makes you think about other people and how they grew up and how we were all children at one point or another, and that inner child dialogue that we all bizarrely need. And then Domestic Wars, that's freaking powerful stuff as well, and can be interpreted many different ways. I mean, you guys could be fighting over the kitchen sink that you haven't cleaned. Do you know what I mean? Or it could be something a lot more sinister, and I love that. And you're using your sister, which is great. I'm currently having a domestic war in my house, Nathan, between 2 cats. If you hear them with the new microphone, that's just because they're going at it. Because Braggy, my number 1 cat, is like 6 years old and I adopted him a year ago. And then my son wanted a kitten, so he got Popcorn Money, who's a bit of an Insta famous kitten at this point, right?
Popcorn
you
Money
know,
is
Popcorn Money.
making the dollars.
He more famous than me. But yeah, so Popcorn Money just wants to play. And Braggy's like, get away from me. It's constant.
I feel like that's the way our dynamic in the house is working as well. You know, me and my housemate Dara, I'm always wanting to play, and he's just like, stop, you know. And by play, I mean drag into a philosophical and religious debate that goes nowhere and is completely loaded with ideology.
What else are you gonna do with your time?
Oh no, I tell you, I need to bother other people with my malarkey. I really do. I fear for my housemates, the poor people. Like, um, no, it's really really funny because you know I don't have like dedicated artists in the house. They're not like they're pursuing other avenues of life. I don't have artists to sit and chat with all the time. So I end up forcing these conversations, these artistic questions about the meaning of life on people who really are not that bothered by it. And yeah, I need to get out of this house.
Do you know that's it's weird because I lately I've just been like, where's my tribe kind of a vibe going on. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
cannot have these deep, meaningful conversations with just about anyone. And my cats definitely don't give me what I need, like with regards to what I get back from these debates in my mind. So
Mm,
yeah, it is a strange freaking time because you're not going to resonate with everyone, and the stuff that's really deep to your soul is just simply not going to be deep to everyone else's soul.
yeah. Yeah, and then there's the whole problem of radicalization, which has been happening because people don't have normal people to talk to anymore. They've only got internet people. And internet people are not your friends. They're weirdos on Twitter. Get off Twitter. It's insane. It's crazy. They're not your friends.
Yeah, and like obviously Twitter is great and all, like, but it does have its downsides, like everything.
it's it's insane. It's I'm actually thinking about quitting Twitter. I think I've got like 3 fans who only use Twitter, and I'm at the stage where I'm like, look, I'm sorry, I'll come to your house and update you, but I can't do Twitter anymore. It takes so much restraint not to comment on posts, you know? And I'm trying to not be political. I'm trying to step out of the political sphere. Um, and it's so impossible with Twitter.
You know what, like that also brings us back to a conversation we had before where music isn't politics, but actually,
Yeah, yeah. But you know, since we last talked, I my political radar has just fallen apart. That's the thing. I've collapsed almost completely with any political ideologies and beliefs. I'm out. I'm out of the conversation.
whereas I'm the other way. I have gotten really impassioned. For instance, last night when the announcement that the UK was refusing the travel-free visas for artists over there to travel the rest of Europe, I got enraged. I screamed into a pillow for 35 minutes.
But you know what's really good about that? Less competition for me.
So true. Speaking of which, there was a question sent to you because obviously now I'm doing questions. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think it's very important that I also appeal to my fans and make sure that the questions that they want asked in these wonderful interviews with people like you are asked. So, Nathan Mack, how does one become so handsome?
Oh, wow. Um, I saw a really great quote from a lady called Fran. I think her second name is Leibowitz. She says, "It's the same way you acquire height." Yeah.
And that, my friends, is the
Elaborate, or
answer.
is that good? Is that good? Lots of sleep and water, and you know you got to look pretty first. Yes, with a rock inside. Actually, yes. My question: why is there a rock in your water bottle?
This is a charcoal stone.
Oh, okay. For
So
a second,
it's
I thought it was going to
not
be something crazy.
it's not some kind of like black obsidian or anything to, enchant or incant my water,
You
which it
you be
could be.
kind. You be kind. Come on.
No, no, it could be because I am into my crystals. But no, no, this is actually a filter system for my water.
Interesting. Have you ever
So,
used charcoal?
not in years, but yes, is the answer.
Okay. My grandmother used to do it all the time, and it seemed like such an alien thing to do as a kid.
Yeah, no, there's so much benefit to just like knowing what's in nature and stuff. Like charcoal is obviously put on earth for a purpose, and it's an incredible filter system. You can buy these in different eco shops. I use Yumi, they're a local Waterford company. They also sell these beautiful glass reusable bottles. I'm trying to do my bit, but my water doesn't always taste the best. So you get these charcoal filter, whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
And you boil them every 3 months. to disinfect them and give them
Oh,
their purpose back. So they last and last and last. And they filter your water and remove all of the crap.
that is pretty nifty. How about things like calcium and such?
Do you know what? I did not look into the science deeply.
Because for a coffee machine or for making coffee in general, if I had something that would get rid of calcium and other like sort of metals from the water, that would be handy for the flavor.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, it's definitely something we should look into, because it's true that when you get a coffee machine that's overcalcified, or even like a washing up machine or any of those things, like it is very detrimental to the fucking system.
Yeah. I love this music conversation about charcoal. It's great.
Look, we are what we are.
True. And honestly, this is the thing. It's the conversations in between that make up the quality. We have that sort of philosophy when we make our songs. The way Brian and I work is that we basically, I come over to his house if I get the chance, if it's not COVID lockdown. Even if it's not, like, we're going to have a chat later on today. We're going to do a Zoom chat and do a bit of production. Basically, we talk shite for about 3 hours and then do an hour of production. And then that's it. And then in between those two gaps, he does about 50, 60 hours of production without me. And then we come back and we reconvene for another conversation. Mm-hmm.
But if we're to put this on a completely musical level, right, which is what you're saying is beautiful and completely true of everything in around us. But if we're to look at things like jazz, it's not about the notes that are played, it's about the notes that are missing.
Oh, did you read that on a cereal box?
No, I did not. I actually know things about stuff like music.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't fully understand the depth of that statement. I'm not a very good musician. I should say that. Okay. My technical proficiencies with music are at a very low standard. I can play guitar well. I'm starting to get more comfortable on the piano, and I can kind of use my voice when I want to. But as far as musicianship goes, I have a long way to go for that before I can claim anything like being a good musician. But the notes in between is an interesting one. Although it's very theoretical.
Everything's pretty abstract, right? Especially when it comes to art. Okay, so what I hear in a song isn't what you wrote.
Yeah, fair. Which sucks because what I wrote is so pretty. And if everybody could understand exactly what I was trying to get at, it'd be even nicer, you know?
Yeah, but everything is open to interpretation. It's like once you put a song out there, it's no longer yours. It belongs to everybody.
Fair. Yeah. And to be fair, that's kind of the purpose. And if you are an artist who struggles with that concept, don't. Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, people own your songs, you don't. I mean, not legally, because legally you own that stuff and you got to keep that, you got to keep that tight, learn about your copyright. But artistically, everybody else owns your song once it's released.
Yeah, which is paradoxically beautiful and very, very scary.
what I think I love about it the most is that, and I guess, I mean, it's only been about a year now that I've had the song out with, like, Better Off Without You. But if I listen back to it, I can apply that differently. It's got a different meaning since, like, that space of life that I've lived between releasing the track and listening to it now. So much has happened in between those two moments that applies to the song. So it's like retroactively telling my story again as well. It's just, it's fun, but it's interesting as well.
Well, that's a really funny thing you should say that, because I always find it really interesting to ask artists, like, especially someone who's released as much as you in such a short time, like, when you look back on your journey over the last year, which is your journey and it's just as important as someone who's been doing it 15 years, right? But when you look back at that first song and you go back into it, has it actually changed for you? And your answer is yes. And I think it should, because your journey is changing, you're changing.
Well, definitely. It's because there's more in a song than you think, always. And even if you're the writer, there's more in the song than you think. And it goes back to what you said about everybody being able to interpret it differently. After you get a certain distance from it, it's like a relationship, after a certain distance from it, you look back on the same things that happened, but with a different attitude. and it almost changes the way you view that person or that relationship. And it's the same with the song. I look back on Better Off Without You, and it's still actually no, I'm not, I can't, even if I think about it too much, it is just the same feeling, but it just happened again. But it didn't. No, yeah. See, I can't even put my finger on it anymore. It's mad. That was one of the most inarticulate moments of my life, I should remind you.
But that just means I'm making you think, because usually you're very well versed. So I'm doing my job right. But yeah, from Better Off Without You, all like in between To Get You to Domestic Words, like I just watched, marveled. And like the way you find this ability you have to actually create a song that's not only yours but also reveals so much of others. I think it's just beautiful. Like I may not always like the sound, because pop is not me, right? And before we like, you know, but the lyrics, and they're one of the things that stand out to the most in songs anyway, right? So for you, lyrics are the most important thing. To me, lyrics are also equally important. We've talked about that in the past interview. If anyone hasn't watched it yet, go find it. It's good. But
you didn't have that Rode microphone, but it was good.
It's good. This is my first time using the Rode microphone.
It's pretty. It is. It's so pretty.
But yeah, so like there's something in music for everybody. It doesn't matter if you like the genre. It doesn't matter if you like the words. It doesn't matter if the only thing you actually truly like in a song is drums. You're drawn to music. It's a connector. It connects us all. So we might not be able to physically see each other or touch, but you're still touching people with your words and your songs and your...
It's funny. I was watching this documentary the other day, and I forget who it was that said it, but they said nobody provides as much joy as musicians and chefs. They're the two people that connect mostly to place and emotion, you know? And it's something that really fascinates me, because as a musician, like I cook, I love cooking, and I get the chef thing. But as a musician, I struggle with it because there's a weird degree of like, do I want to buy into a weird self-importance? Do I?
Right. Look,
like
we could...
You go back in, like, so for instance, right? Alzheimer's patients, you go back to when they were kids, take the popular music of the time, play it to them now, and suddenly they're functioning human beings. They're like, before they couldn't dress themselves, and suddenly they hear this music from their past, and they're just living life like normal. They're able to do everything. And then the music stops and they go back to not being able to do simple tasks. There's something weird about it that I don't know enough about. If anybody's
not really. Music feeds the soul, food feeds the body.
I don't know. I've had soul food before.
Too, it exists. What's funny about that is in my 2 incarnations of promoting things, I have been a food blogger and a music promoter.
No way.
Oh yeah.
So what are the similarities between the two?
Well, the beauty of being able to push the art of others, because a lot of people don't see food as art, but I would stand to completely disagree with that point of view.
Okay, well, but then we should judge it by the same parameters. There's good art and bad art.
Of course.
Yeah, so like a baked beans and toast isn't art. It's beans and toast.
Yes, but it could also feed your soul and your needs on that day better than, let's say, a Michelin star. Like for whatever your needs are on the day.
Well, fair, but I wouldn't define that as art though. Like just
if I cut my toast with a dinosaur cutout, right, and I make a mountain out of mashed potato, and I make baked bean lava, and I've got 2 little dinosaurs popping out of my lava mount, that could be artistic.
Okay, so for instance, right, you can eat the really tough stem of broccoli, yeah? That doesn't mean it's food. You can eat poison. Doesn't necessarily mean it's food. Just because something seems like art does not mean it's art.
Oh no, even bad art is still art. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good. Are you going to tell me all the music out there is good for your soul or good in the first place? And that's still art.
Fair.
It's somebody's. So I think the same thing applies to music and food.
I don't know. I'm really critical and judgmental. Like I'm mean when it comes to this stuff like this. I am. No, I am. But for a good reason. For a good reason. Okay. I'm not just mean for the sake of being mean. I try to hold the higher standards. I have this something that really burns me with a lot of culture today, let's just say. Or at least a lot of the music culture that I'm familiar with. There's too much allowance for crap. For stuff that's like, oh, I see what you were trying to do there. Well done. You're like, no, come on, just do a little better. Like, I'm not saying that you can't be good, but you can be better. And I don't know, people are afraid to criticize now. You know?
Yeah, look, people are scared to speak their minds. Luckily enough, there are people like us who are absolutely not
We don't care.
scared of
We'll
speaking our
tell you
mind.
when you're horrible.
One of the other commonalities between my food blogging years and my music
Hmm.
promoting years was that I always emphasize promoting local. So I've always pushed for whatever was Irish, whatever was worthy, whatever I believed was very important for everyone to know about. So that was always something that's just innate in me. How I started off being a food blogger was that I was a market organizer by accident. And then I was in a situation where I had no income. So when I was organizing the markets, there'd be loads of stalls who actually had nobody to work at them on certain days. So I started working for all the stalls while organizing the markets. And then I got all
Nice.
my friends' jobs working all the markets. And then before I knew what was happening, I was traveling the length and breadth of Ireland, working for loads of stall holders while organizing markets and getting to meet different people, which is exactly what's happening with the music industry. So that's funny.
That is an amazing story. I have never heard that before. I want to know more. I want to know more about your food blogging history.
Well, we'll go into that later after the
No,
interview.
I'll start a podcast where I bring on interviewers from around the country and I just interview them. You know?
I love that
Yeah,
idea.
right.
And it's, yeah, no, do it. I think more podcasts are exactly what needs. Not recently, I get asked this a lot, or this gets said to me a lot. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could do what you do. And when I say this, people might take it up the wrong way. I was like, but you can't. You absolutely cannot do what I do.
Yeah.
But here's what you can do. You can figure out who you are. You can decide what matters to you. You can decide how you want to show that to the world, and you can go after that. You
Yeah.
cannot be me.
But honestly, on the same token, I feel like I'm misinterpreting you for my own purposes. This is why I would never or I shouldn't start a podcast. I'm not saying I would never. I'm saying I probably shouldn't start a podcast because honestly, it probably wouldn't be that good. I'm gonna stick to music. No, I'm gonna stick to music. I can do that. Okay. I'm gonna write songs. I'm not gonna try do everything else. Okay, because I don't want to inflict my bad quality hobbies on the world. They have enough of that from other people. You know, the amount of friends that you have that say, please listen to my thing, and you listen to it and it's not good. And you don't
Yeah,
need another
there's a
person.
lot of work and dedication in what I do as well. And what I would always say as well is my podcast is only ever as good as my guests. So each one is
Oh,
completely tailored to the artist at hand. I have different approaches for different characters. I try and make sure that everything is what the artist needs in this moment in time.
see, and that's the kind of laziness or that's the kind of thing that I would be too lazy to do. That's what I meant to say. I'd be too lazy for that. You know, you put in too much work. Well, no, you put in enough work for what you got. I mean, it's showing. It's nice.
We're gonna leave you with the last question because I'm really enjoying this question, and I think it's something that we should all be asking ourselves in the support local ethos.
Mhm.
Could you recommend local or even further afield bands or musicians I should be paying attention to,
Hmm.
and why?
So I have two. I have two. I have Rosie Byrne. You know Rosie Byrne?
Mm-mm.
You are you're in luck. Okay. I'm gonna get on Instagram to be 100% sure I get the Instagram handle correct. Um Rosie Byrne. Rosie Byrne Music. Yes, BYRNE. Check her out. She is extremely talented and extremely promising. Another artist who's extremely talented and extremely promising is also making sure I get the Instagram handles correct, is Connor Mark. Oh, Connor Marcus Music. It's the same thing. It's everybody just puts music at the end of their name. That's all it is. So Connor Marcus Music is also a fantastic songwriter, singer, and extremely promising artist. You should definitely pay attention.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I am very happy with those recommendations. At the pre-interview level, myself and Nathan had a discussion. The Spotify algorithm's a funny thing, right? And
Yeah.
every time I play a Nathan Mack song, a big, big, big influence on my life and an incredible friend of mine other than Nathan pops on after him. His name is Kozak Demars, and back in February he released a song called Shine Your Light, and that man is literally shining his light on the music industry for the last 10 months. And I personally believe the song is amazing and everyone should listen to it. So that's my local recommendation for the day.
That's a beautiful one. Oh, hold on. Do you not recommend him every single day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Recommending him every single day.
Yeah, pretty much. I literally, like, between Demars Entertainment, Demars Magazine, Transmission Live, Transmission Music Festival, like that man is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
And now he's working for Phoenix FM. He's actually reading the news. The man reads the news.
One of my favorite things. So he also used to run the Crystal Skull session back when we had real life. One of the best things I ever told him was, make it more theatrical. Use props. Use a mask. Use like a wand. Use this. And what do I see him do the next couple of weeks? He starts dressing up with the mask. And well, he already had the smoke machine and the skull, of course, because that's him. That's completely him. I can't take credit for that. But I will take credit for all of his props.
And I think that's amazing. We should all be pushing each other to be our more better selves. We should all be inspiring each other. And that is exactly why we do these interviews, why we create music, and why we try and help the industry in a moment where everyone needs something, some kind of platform. You give it to me, I'll take it.
But that's the thing. So like we need a hook for this interview, because last time we had you rapping. So what I want you to do this time, okay? This is an old circus little trick we used to do. So can you make a bunny? Like a bunny? Yeah? Okay. It's time to get your gun. Okay. Now the gun chases the bunny, but then the bunny chases the gun, or then the gun chases the bunny back. Okay? Cross and a cross. Yeah?
Okay. Jesus.
That's it, yeah. And then, huh!
I killed it. That reminds me of that joke. What's this?
Oh, it's a dead one of these. Yeah. That's good. What's this?
Two dead one of these?
It's just two of them. Yeah.
I have another one I'll do off camera, but right now I'm going to stop recording. Nathan, you have been fantastic as always. Everybody out there, if you're not following him on Instagram already, you need to do that. Anyone who's watching on his side who does not know me, my name is Rebecca Cappuccini. I run Viking Promotions. I have had a podcast for the last 10 months interviewing people from all directions of our beautiful island called Creative Cabin Fever. You'll find that on YouTube and my Facebook page. I also recently launched a Buy Me a Coffee, because I'm also needing people to buy me coffee. So if you've enjoyed this at any point and want to buy me a coffee, thank you. If not, I'm still going to love you.
Well, I have enjoyed this and I will buy you a coffee. And if you are interested in me, then you're probably interested in upcoming artists. So that is a good place to find them.
Thank you.